Heyo guys, Crash Thompson here. This is the commentary track for the very first Rock Critic episode on Sane Anger. Oh man, it's hard to believe it's been over 3 years. This episode originally released in July of 2012, I believe, and I'd been working on the script since probably about May-ish or June-ish. So yeah, Rock Critic, as of this recording in August of 2015, is just over 3 months old. It's 3 years, Jesus. It's kind of crazy how far we've come since then. So a little backstory on this, on why I decided to do the Rock Critic in the first place. Well, the way the story goes, I was living in Indianapolis. I had probably only been living there for about a year, maybe like a year and a half. And I had just moved to a place in Indy called Broad Ripple, and Broad Ripple is it's a fun part of town. There's a lot of clubs, a lot of nice bars, there's some music venues. The Vogue is in Broad Ripple. Great hookah bar called the Lava Lounge and the Egyptian, and just the indie CD vinyl is there too. If you're in Indy, Broad Ripple is a cool place to go. It's gotten a little crimey and shooty since then, but yeah, I was living in Broad Ripple, and the thing is, I made some poor financial decisions. It's kind of a long story, but I moved to Broad Ripple and I was broke. So I was living in the heart of the city, not the heart of the city, but like this very fun, happening place in Indy and probably in all of Indiana, and I was too damn broke to even go out and have fun and enjoy it. And I was still doing stand-up whenever I could at this time, but I was too broke to do it. I'm about to say, in Indiana, there are stand-up clubs, and there are places where you can do stand-up, but a lot of them are spread out very far, and most Indiana comics, most Midwestern comics, that tour those areas, you can't, it's not like Chicago or New York or LA. If you're gonna, be a stand-up comic in that area, you've got to tour pretty much the entire states, the entire surrounding states if you can afford to. So you need a vehicle, you need gas money, it ain't cheap. It really ain't cheap, I can say that much. And with me being so broke, it was next to impossible for me to get out and do stand-up gigs. But I wanted to keep writing, I wanted to keep making new material, keep making, just keep my muscles, taut in that respect. And I had just gotten into... Well, I had been watching them for a little while, but I was really, really starting to get addicted to shows like AVGN and Spoonie and The Nostalgia Critic and a lot of others out there. I think I just discovered, Browse Hell High, Kyle Calgren show around this time. God, I love that effect. The James Hetfield, Kyaw, Kyaw, that might be my favorite joke of this whole episode. God, I need to talk about Metallica again so I can bring that back. Oh, man. And, well, the thing is, I wanted to keep writing, but I didn't really quite have the outlet. I couldn't afford to do stand-up. And I had a flip camera. Not even a Flip HD. It was so old, it was one of the original flips that only shot in 480p. It was a dinosaur. But I saw... One of the biggest inspirations was... Oh, something else about this. God, I love that opening, that Rock Critic opening with all the LPs and the hat dropping down. God, I want to bring that back, but I lost the original file to that opening. Plus, even if I did have it, it's not in the right dimensions, it's not the right resolution. I would basically need to reshoot it, and I've unfortunately had to sell all those records since then. Yeah. Yeah, me and poverty, we just can't escape one another. But no, I was well, getting back to it, I had, just discovered, I was really starting to get into the whole online critic sort of scene, and I found Doug Walker's, it was a video of him, just one of his, like, vloggier videos about how to actually get into the industry, how to, just how to make your own show if you wanted to go about it. And it really, really spoke to me. One of the biggest things being, one of his biggest piece of advice is, and I wholeheartedly recommend this too if you're considering getting into this field, is that it doesn't matter if you don't have a good camera, if you don't have good equipment, if you don't have previous experience, or even the most know-how. If you want to do it, get a camera, write a script, shoot something, and put it out there. And just don't worry about your shortcomings. Don't worry about your flaws. You'll be able to work those out as you progress. If you really want to do it, then, then just go out and do it. And, this story. This is true, 100, by the way. This thing about me and the CD player in the closet, I've mentioned this in my Q&A video, too. But, my first memories ever, like literally ever, the first thing I ever remember about being alive, like my first memory is me sitting on the couch when I was probably, I had to be like maybe 7 or 8-ish, I'm not 100% sure, but just me sitting on the couch with my brother, and we were watching this video, Enter Sandman. And I remember my brother, well, the thing is, we weren't allowed to watch MTV in my household, so we were sneak watching it while my parents were out of the house, and my brother was constantly peeking out the window, just trying to make sure, see if mom and dad were pulling in so we could change the channel real quick, but I was just sitting there, just enthralled with it. Like, I think I remember he was actually, like, he didn't want me to watch it because he thought, well, I was 6 or 7, and he thought it might scare me. And I was kind of a timid kid, too, so it very well could have, but no, it was literally, it was just magical, I remember. Just hearing those notes, it was just, oh yeah. Then they started doing wrong. Oh yeah, isn't that the truth? But here's the thing. I'll probably do an episode on Load and Reload someday, because the thing is, like, they're tricky albums. They're definitely not the best. They're definitely not the best Metallica albums out there. They're really not. But I don't honestly think they're as bad as everyone says they are. They're very different. They're very, very different. They're crazy curveballs compared to everything else in their back catalog. Even compared to Black Album, these albums are really, like, strange. They're oddities for, a metal band, especially at that time, There wasn't a ton of, like, crossover-y kind of, well, it was out there. There was lots of crossing over going on, but we didn't expect it to come out of Metallica. I can remember that much. Like, it really threw us for a loop when Metallica, like, did what they did, but, listening back on those albums, there's still really, really good songs on there, like Fuel, Memory Remains, Memory Remains, so, like, Hero of the Day is still one of my favorite Metallica songs. I absolutely love that song, and it's the weirdest goddamn Metallica song out there. Oh yeah, well, not the weirdest, but it is definitely an odd one. Yeah. Oh, and the whole, give me fuel, give me fire, give me that what you desire. Like, that was another big thing you did back in the day, just coming up with different, different things that you could say, like, give me two, give me pies, give me everything inside, or, I remember those, like, before memes were a thing, that was something that happened a lot on the schoolyard. It happened a lot, between me and my friends. Like, hell, that was pretty much the only time I could get, going to a Christian school, that was pretty much the only time I could get a lot of my friends to talk about Metallica, was when we were making fun of them, which, hey, at least it got the conversation started. And, I gotta give Metallica credit for, at least having the boldness to try something different. Like, I mean, say whatever you want to about, albums like Saint Anger and like Load and Reload. It took balls to do that. I mean, both of these albums, foreshadowing. You'll have to forgive me, I'm watching this without the sound because my microphone keeps picking it up when I try to put it on, and I don't quite have the means to use headphones in this scenario, but yeah, the whole Weezer drop, originally, it wasn't my plan to do the whole Weezer series as the very next preceding episode. And to be honest, I kind of wish I hadn't, because I mean, when I started Rise and Fall of Weezer, that pretty much locked my full release schedule into, oh, well, what can I do next? Oh, well, I've got to do a Weezer vid, because that's what everyone's expecting. That's what everyone wants to see. And it kind of didn't give me a lot of flexibility or options. And I just, I decided I wanted to do it like I said, originally I figured I could whip out the Rise and Fall of Weezer series in no time. I was originally just gonna, my original expectation was to do them all in 6 months, and we all know that didn't happen. God, we know that didn't happen, but Weezer was definitely one of the bands I wanted to talk about, and I think it was a toss-up between either that or Bad Religion's Into the Unknown. I wanted to do an episode on that. I still will do an episode on that someday. There are lots of albums I really wanted to tackle, but I just decided, well, I'll do this big series just to prove that I can do it. I mean, it's a lot of work, but how much could it possibly take? Whoa, yeah. Word of advice to any potential video makers out there. Don't make the second episode of your series a massive, sweeping, chronology of... Don't do a massive series as your second episode. Do a few one-offs, Do 5 or 6 just one-off quick episodes. Oh, because, as much as I loved making Rise and Fall of Weezer, it tired me out. God, I need to switch off of this. We're talking about Weezer during the first episode. But this one was a lot of fun to make. The only problem is, the sound quality is terrible, I do have to admit that. Partially because, like I said, the camera I was using was a cheap... Like I said, it wasn't even a flip HD cam. It was just a flip normal cam. It was 480p. And it didn't have any kind of microphone on it. The mic on that thing was terrible. And I ran into a very weird problem where I couldn't have my air conditioning running. This is how bad the microphone on that camera was. I couldn't have my air conditioning running at the time while I was filming, because the air conditioning, just the simple, hum of the air conditioner, would drown out my speaking audio. And the thing is, while I was shooting this, it was literally just luck of the draw. I think this episode I spread it out between 3 or 4 days, I believe. Just general shooting. Well, it was more just, when I could find free time. My day job was taking up a lot of my time, as it still does. And, I just shot whenever I could get a free chance. I think it was spread out across 3 or 4 days. And the 3 or 4 days I had to shoot were the hottest goddamn days in Indiana history. I think we hit the high 90s in almost every single day we were shooting, and I couldn't turn on the air conditioning. So, oh god. Okay, number 1, you can see, there's the James Hetfield head again. I love that. But, as you can see in some of the shots, there's sweat. You can see a ton of goddamn sweat on my hat, and you can tell my hair is really frizzy and just jutting out all over the place. So that was, that was fun to sit through. I'm sitting here shooting this about to die of freaking heat exhaustion. Oh, it was so goddamn rough. And two, it looked terrible because, you know, thankfully I was wearing, you know, well, partially me wearing dark clothes and plaid certainly didn't help matters, but as far as general sweating goes, but it did hide the more obvious sweat. And like I said, number three, it's just, it was just horrible. Those clothes smelled so bad. By the end, it was just, oh yeah, here we go. Yeah, yes, this is an homage to Mr. Plinkett. Red Letter Media was another big inspiration for this series. I still watch Red Letter Media to this day. I absolutely love their Half in the Bags and Wheel of the Worsts and Bests of the Worst. They do good work. And any opportunity to slip in This Is Spinal Tap quote is one I'm going to take. That movie is so awesome. But yeah, it was crazy shooting this, and I remember the writing process was weird too. Well, like I said, this was my first episode, so I didn't even wholeheartedly understand what I was getting myself into. I wrote a script. I think that script, it was long too, like the original script to this thing. I think it was somewhere between 8 to 12 pages. Like, I had no idea, like, how long, like, I didn't know, like, what my page to runtime length was. You know, some people, they can kind of gauge how much content how much content and time they're going to make per page. Through years and years of working it out, I've kind of worked it out that for me, one page is equal to about 5 minutes of video. Like most, pretty much every quickie script is about 1 page long. That clocks me in at roughly between the 4 to 6 minute range, usually is what a page gives me. And, yeah, and the thing is, I had no idea what I was shooting for, so I just wrote until I couldn't write anymore. And then I sent the script off to a friend of mine. Actually, I sent it to Jake Lense. If the name sounds familiar, if you've watched any Critical Condition episodes, he's the guy who sometimes helps me out with those videos. Jake is a good friend of mine from my stand-up days. We actually did a lot of shows together in Muncie at a show called the Comedy Mosh Pit. Not joking. Actually, the Ballad of the Hipster Douchebag, that video takes place at a mosh pit show. One of my first few mosh pit shows, actually. God, it was a great time we had back then. but yeah, I sent it to Jake, and the thing is, Jake isn't terribly familiar, well, he wasn't at the time, terribly familiar with all this scene, this whole, you know, the whole video reviewer thing, the whole, you know, the sort of kind of underground thing that this is. I don't know if underground is the right term, but yeah, he wasn't aware of this. He had no idea what the hell I was doing. I just sent him a random-ass script and said, hey, man, could you read this and see if it's, like, funny and, you know, just kind of fact-check it and make sure I didn't make any huge blaring blunders or anything. And, God, I can only imagine what he must have thought reading that script. Like he said he liked it. He said he really enjoyed it, but he also said that he had no fucking clue what he was looking at too. So yeah, it was weird. But it was weird kind of explaining at first. It was weird explaining to everyone what the hell I was doing exactly. Like I had mentioned this to, you know, other people I knew, and they were like, "Oh, wait, you're doing what? You're making a review of something, but it's funny? What? Wait, what?" Like, people who aren't into that general scene, it is kind of hard explaining to them what exactly it is you do. But I don't know, that was one of the reasons why I had business cards made. It was so much easier. I mean, not necessarily. I mean, you know, it's a handy tool for networking and stuff. But at the same time, it was also just like, it's much easier to, when someone asks, hey, what do you do? It's much easier to hand them a card and say, this then say, oh, well, I'm a critic, but I'm on YouTube, and it is seriously critical, but it's also like funny and tongue-in-cheeky and goofy, but it's also, it's a mouthful. Oh, this particular line right here. I remember I got so many comments saying that I messed that up, that it's doubt-filled world and not down-filled world. Here's the thing though, I had the lyric sheet. I looked it up on several different places online. It says down. And I've never found anything to say that's a misprint or a misinterpretation or anything. It's down-filled world. And that is a really stupid line. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's the thing about the lyrics on this. Like the lyrics are definitely worse here than on any other album. Like, the thing about this album is James is being very introspective. Like, a lot of Metallica lyrics are just, they're just kind of they're just kind of your standard, metal lyrics. Darkness, war, pain, wrath. Kind of non-specific, kind of, just general. But oh yeah, this bit. This is the beginning of the old running gag that Crash can't scream. And it isn't, just a gag. It's actual. This is an actual real life thing. I actually cannot scream. I got shunted out of so many metal bands growing up. I would try out as the singer, and they wouldn't have me because, I'm more of a clean singer, I just can't scream. Screaming is one of those things where it's not necessarily difficult to do, but your voice, you have to have a good sounding screaming voice. Like, you just have to, if you can scream, your screaming voice has to sound appealing. Your shout has to have something behind it. It has to sound musically good. And I don't know, some people sound really great when they scream. Some people just not so much. And the thing is, I don't know, my scream has never sounded good, and hence I've never been able to pursue it. But yeah, the lyrics on this album, sorry, getting back to my point, and it's a bass, by the way, in this section, it's a bass. I've known several people who probably couldn't tell you the difference. In fact, I remember I actually went around to some of my friends, I think on like a Facebook post or something, and I just said, hey, listen to the first few lines of this and tell me whether you guys think it's a guitar or a bass. And most of the responses I got were either guitar or I can't tell. So yeah, yeah, and oh god, Bob Rock. Wrapping up my Metallica lyric point, James was just focusing too much on like himself and his personal struggle, which good stuff can come from that, but James Hetfield just isn't the right guy to pull it off. Done. Yeah, not even to knock the Payolas here, which was Bob Rock's band that he was in before he became a producer. It's not bad necessarily for that kind of, 80s, that 80s sort of faux reggae, sort of synthy rock, light rock kind of feel. It wasn't bad by any means, but I don't know, it's like, it's not Metallica is my general point here. It's not. Like, it would be like if Hetfield had quit, it would almost be like replacing him with Michael Stipe from R.E.M. That's, no, he was the wrong guy for the job. Oh my god. Yeah, it's just, man, this album, and my wrapping up points here, yes, this is easily the worst Metallica album. I don't think, the thing is, that was another reason why I picked Saint Anger as my first episode, frankly, because I knew it was going to be an episode that we weren't going to debate on necessarily. I mean, whether you're a Metallica fan or not, pretty much everyone who knows even a drop of information about Metallica knows that Saint Anger is pretty much a piece of crap. You aren't going to find many people who are adamant in their, defending of this album. It's pretty much a universally reviled album. Like, even the people who stand up for it usually even me, when I'm kind of standing up for it, I just say, it's bad, but see that's the thing. No, there's no defending Nickelback. They suck. But yeah, it's bad. It's bad, but I mean, it's not the worst thing in the world. It's just, it turned out to be, it just had way too much. Like I say, the band shouldn't have even been recording at that time. If you watch the documentary Some Kind of Monster, which I think I did mention in this episode, it explains kind of, you just kind of see, that movie, if you're a Metallica fan, that movie is really hard to watch. Because it just shows you just this band that does not want to be doing it, and they should not be doing it, and it's a miracle. It's a miracle Metallica even survived that. That's why, I like Death Magnetic so much. People slag that album off all the time. The funniest thing I often hear is that people slag Death Magnetic because it's just them trying to be their old selves, and I'm like, dude, isn't that what you've been bitching about for the last 10, 15 years? Dude, they're trying to be their old selves. Good! Their old selves didn't suck! And Death Magnetic didn't suck either. It was pretty damn solid. It was, if nothing else, it was way, way better than I think anyone was expecting. And no, I never will do Lulu. I hint at it in this episode, but guys, Lulu, I might do Lulu under a very specific set of circumstances, but I highly doubt those circumstances will come to pass, and guys, Lulu, it would be next to impossible to do. It's fucking crazy. And oh yeah, and my little sign off here. I've tried to include this in every episode that I can. The only opinion that really matters is yourself line. That is, if anything, a phrase of mine catches on, that's the one I would like, because, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what really matters, when it comes, it's another reason why I decided to review rock as opposed to, video games or any other subject that I'm kind of nerdy obsessive about. When it comes to music, it is much easier to have a subjective opinion. You can't necessarily say, oh, this is right or wrong. If say, for example, if a video game has, bad controls or, horrible graphics, that's very easy to spot and say, oh, hey, this game doesn't work. Or, if a movie has bad cinematography or actors who aren't delivering their lines properly, it's easy to say, oh, hey, they're phoning it in, or it looks terrible. Music, on the other hand, it depends on how it connects to you, because music, some of the best music, or at least, really, really good music, can also, it doesn't have to be technically masterful to be beautiful. The Ramones is some of the most simplistic punk rock out there, but it's also some of the best. And the thing is, and just on the opposite side of that coin, some progressive bands and other metal bands that have the most technically intricate, crazily hard to pull off and interesting, solos and arrangements and stuff, it can still be just piss poor to listen to. And that's what makes rock so interesting to me. It's, it's all just a matter of of personal taste. Music hits you right in your space. Music, whether it's good or bad, wholeheartedly depends on you. Oh wait, here's an error. There's an error coming up here if you really catch it. Right-hand corner, tripod in the shot. Oh, tripod in the shot. My God. That was literally one of the last things I shot, and I don't know, after sweating my ass off in that sauna of an apartment, I figured, you know what, it's a small goof, it's my first try. We'll put up with it, Okay, actually, another thing, this should actually be called original ending. Because in the script, this is how the video ends. This is the end of the script. This is how it actually ends. But at the time, this just shows you how little I knew going in. Yeah, but this in the script, this is how it originally ends, but I didn't have it as the original ending because the second half of the episode and this part attached to it ended up being about 16 minutes long, and I didn't know how to switch my channel to videos longer than 15 minutes at the time. So I just had to cut that ending out and call this an alternate ending. Oh god, see, look at all the sweat. That is sweat on my hat, and that is really disgusting. Like, ugh. Guys, I'm sorry, but it was the way it was. Yeah. Oh, and this was probably the hardest thing to shoot. Not because it was tricky or difficult, but it was so embarrassing. Like, well, the thing is, this is, like I say, I'm in Broad Ripple. This is actually, called, I believe this is the Manon Trail? And the thing is, like, this is this was all out basically in public. And like I said, this was like July. This was like the middle of a scorching summer. And here I am in plaid and black and in a fedora. A trilby, technically, but, it's still, still a fedora, and here I am just setting up like the way I shot those running past scenes. I literally set the camera up, ran past it, then moved it down a few feet or a few blocks, set the camera up, ran past it, and did that over and over and over again. And for the Manon Trail, the shot where I'm running across the bridge, that was actually shot. For the record, I'm not literally screaming shit out loud in public like that. No, that was dubbed over in ADR. I'm not that crazy. but yeah. So yeah, that's the thing. This episode, God, it was a labor of love. But yeah, the thing is, it was really fun to make, and that's the thing, like, at first, like, it took a long time for people to actually start noticing my channel and really it wasn't until basically the rise and fall of Weezer videos, when those started getting around, after I'd recovered from my sickness, that things started to really pick up. So for the longest time, no one saw my early videos. I was basically, this is kind of a fun little relic from the days when I was literally just doing this for fun. And I mean, I still am pretty much just doing this because I enjoy it. Believe me, if you didn't enjoy it, you wouldn't do this. It's a lot of work for potentially no reward. But yeah, I just had a lot of fun. It was goofy and ridiculous and weird, and I don't know, at the time I just figured it would be like a fun little throwaway project, and like I've said in the Q&A, I figured this was something people could bring me up to when I was doing stand-up, and like I said, it's grown into something so much more. And yeah, forgive me if I've been a little scatterbrained during this. God, it's hard to talk and watch the footage at the same time. God, I have more respect for, guys like Doug Walker and Spoonie and, guys who actually have, more cohesive commentary with their videos. But yeah, that was this was the commentary for Rock Critic Episode 1, Saint Anger. Special thanks to Joshua Christie, whose Patreon pledge made this video possible. And thanks again for all your support, and thanks for watching the Rock Critic, guys. Hopefully we'll come back to Metallica soon someday. If only to get one more kya out of it. Thanks for watching, guys. Cheers. And remember, the only opinion that really matters is your own.